Okay, I know for a fact that you guys usually come along here for like music content, and yes, there is more music content that is going to release pretty soon. We're working on a collaboration with somebody by the name of Human Fighter. He's a bit of a notable person in one of the communities that I frequent. But for now, here's a bit of a look. I know for a fact that in one of the quick guide series videos, I said something along the lines of, "Oh, unless it's a gambit, I'm not going to cover it." That didn't really age very well because as it turns out, like stuff like Laughing Gambit, Martial Attack, even Counter Counterattack, Traxler Counterattack, Lumberger Counter Gambit, Albin Counter Gambit, all those things, they all turned out to be technically defenses simply because they're still responses to what White is playing. So just because it's called they're just called defenses just because you're responding to what White is playing, but there are plenty of attacking ways to play the black pieces, even if you're playing something that's still considered a defense. Anyway, just a couple days ago, we just had something called the Dragon Whopper combo, and we were like, oh yeah, maybe we should do a bit of a video on something that's inspired by the promotion that's going on, the How to Train Your Dragon live action film. This is going to be on an opening called the Dragon. These nuts. Okay. So there are going to be two different variations that we're going to cover, both in the same they're going to be both be covered in the same game that you're going to see in a little bit. One of them is the Dragendorf. As you can see here, you just have to do your typical box. I mean, you obviously start with a Sicilian defense, and then you go here, and then do your typical box stuff, and then the only difference between the Dragon and the Najdorf variations of the Sicilian defense is that the Dragon goes here and the Najdorf goes here. But once you have that going on, you technically have your Dragendorf already, because you're already doing both. But obviously, it's much more recommended to play this first so that the bishop doesn't pin you. So the way this goes is d4, c5, knight f3, d6, d4, c takes d4, knight takes d4, knight f6, knight c3, d6, bishop 6. This is how the Dragendorf typically starts, but obviously it's in the Dragon variation. Bishop b3, bishop d7, f3. This is called the Yugoslav attack. a6 to a6, and this is where we start to get into the Dragendorf a little bit. Then bishop 2, castles kingside, queen b2, knight c6, castles queenside, and this is the starting position of the Dragendorf. Obviously, this is known as the Yugoslav attack. Obviously, as you can see here, and the battle lines are going to get pretty drawn here. White is usually going to attack on the king side like this, and you are going to attack on the queen side like this. And that's how that's how a typical Sicilian goes. That's how a typical like dragon goes as well. And then you're probably gonna trade these knights. Sorry, probably going to trade these knights. And now we're going to see an example game where all this stuff happened. Yeah. e4, c5. Typical Sicilian stuff. And then this variation of the Dragendorf started in the Nidorf variation, and then bishop b2, d6, bishop b3, bishop b7, queen d2, knight c6, castle, queenside, castle, kingside, f3. As you can see here, it doesn't say Yugoslav attack, but this already started in the. You can always see you already have the exact same structure as this. You can always see we have the exact same structure as this we already just saw. So yeah, obviously this is still technically the Yugoslav attack. Knight takes d4, bishop takes d4, bishop b6. See here, the battle lines are getting drawn. White is obviously attacking on the king side. You're obviously attacking on the queen side. They're pushing piece, and then it looks like black is getting just obliterated on the queen side and the king side here, but obviously you're going to see some counterplay pretty soon. There's that check, and that rook moved over to the H file. That rook moved over to the H file. Now the other rook is going to start to make it to presence. There we go. Obviously this fork won the rook for free, and this is where the game kind of starts to spiral out of control for white. White is getting bludgeoned here. This is where white resigned because obviously you're obviously off both rooks. You already have a lot of pawns. Just you're going to get past pawns eventually. You already have your king there to like gobble up some of the pawns as well, and the bishop is basically doing nothing. As you saw already, you just have to do an awful lot of like maneuvering, and just have to be ready to like trade pieces whenever your opponent is starting to get a little ahead. I think that rook fork kind of close the game far off control. Yeah. This version is plays out very much like a system. So once you have this setup going, you're pretty much like all good to go. You just have to know your middle game. You have to know your tactics. And yeah, have fun.